I was in the big plan workshop and looking at taking this approach in a different way and looking at it in a group sense and making it very dynamic as part of a group. I thought that sounded tremendous. And I really enjoyed the workshop that was there. But again, it's the same tools, but just using them in a different way. And still very, very dynamic.
My name's Yvonne and I'm a parent of Drew here, this is my son, who was involved in the first big plan, which I found really interesting and I really believe in it, and that's why I was sort of taking the show on this speak.
Louise and I have been using person-centred planning tools, approaches for a long time, for about 12 years, using a variety of different groups, not just people with disabilities, but people with mental health problems, people recovering from addiction issues, all sorts of different kinds of groups. What we're going to do to start off the process of thinking about the big plan is to think about what it is that makes life worth living.
Basically, what a local area coordinator does is to help people figure out what they want to do in life, to kind of help people then use their own skills and resources and contacts and things to achieve what they can themselves, and then where people need a wee bit of help or support, to find ways that people can get support then to achieve their life goals. But local area coordination is based on 10 principles. I'm just going to talk about two very briefly, the two most important ones I think, which say that people know themselves what they want and need, and that everybody has the right to be and the capacity to be included in the local community. So they're like two really key points of local area coordination. Drew, if we can go on to the next slide, thanks.
And in Fairways, I think it was Tears in the Fairways project with some of the stuff that was going on. Absolutely outstanding to see what people achieve and what they want to achieve, and the fact that they get a chance to live their lives to that extent and get out there and get involved in lives and get the experience of lives, the difference that makes to was absolutely superb.
I think what I really want to get across today is we're in the position now that we've developed this model. I'm saying probably there's loads more that we can still do to it, but we feel it's at the stage where we are now ready to roll it out. We do have a pilot project in Fife Council. We also have another project in Galashiels, and we're working in two different projects in Edinburgh.
So that's what we're trying to promote in terms of person-centred. It very much is about listening to the person's aspirations and finding ways of achieving that.
Because this is so individual, young people develop confidence in how they approach the future and become more realistic about goals, more resilient in dealing with setbacks and unforeseen changes. The use of PCP is growing steadily as more and more organisations embrace the approach. However, it still has to become second nature across all professions.
When I got started, what young people were saying to me about their transition story made it clear that it was completely dependent on the adults that they had round about them, the professionals and their parents. And sometimes there were examples of really good practice, really kind of blue sky thinking, where they really made things happen for the young people. But there was other instances where they just literally fell into kind of a big dark hole and nobody was really giving them the support that they needed to make that transition. And so I suppose the whole hope for the kind of transition protocol and moving was that person-centred planning, that getting the young person in the driving seat to go where they wanted to go, wasn't dependent on who happened to be the adults round about you, but that it became practice across Highland that every young person in that place got the right support to make the choices that they wanted to make.
But I think more and more people's expectations are getting higher. I certainly know for us, people are, when they come through to us, they're expecting a job now. So that expectation's there, that happens, it's just absolutely tremendous. It makes a huge difference. When people come through and they expect a quality of service and they expect a quality of life and they're expecting a job and they're expecting things, and that makes a huge difference to the people that are representing them. In terms of finding out how you can do that, then person-centred approach is ideal, you know.
What remains to be done now is to share understanding of PCP and its importance in best practice. The conference took a vital step forward, showing how many different approaches have grown from that key PCP principle.
So I think from a professional's point of view, it's huge in terms of your own development and in terms of being able to connect with people, understand who they are, what they want to achieve, them being in control of you. Or maybe not in control of you, but certainly them being in control of the process, or taking a lot more of control of the process as a hugely powerful tool. And the more they're in control and the more they're doing for themselves, then it's actually an easier thing, not a more difficult thing. For me, it uses less resources, not more resources.
That is why the conference relied as much on the attendance and personal testimony of the young people who have already experienced PCP as it did on the contribution of those who are working to make it happen.
I enjoyed today. I thought it was nice. I thought it was lovely that there was a mix of young people who were actually in transition, but there were also older people who clearly had found supported ways of independent living, which I thought must be inspiring to the younger people coming along behind them. I think the variety of workshops was really good, that people could go from, you know, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, and they might see two slightly different approaches, but what was clear, whichever workshop you were at, was that actually getting the young person in the centre was the way to go.
Asking questions about my path and all that, and about my previous meetings with the school. It's like a long piece of paper that has everything drawn and written on it for the things I want to do in the future, which might or might not happen. I just like telling people about what I did when I used to be at school and what I'm doing now. Yeah, it's so people can be aware, young people can be aware of what they're wanting to do for the future, and they're expressing their views.
Looking at the workshops.
Right. Because it's being useful information today. Just all the talks, first time were very good, and the workshops have been quite good as well.
Today was brilliant and I liked it. It was smashing.
Particular thanks go to ARC Scotland for supporting this conference and for their continuing support for the Highland Person-Centred Planning Network over the past 4 years.